Oh, look at that young one. See the little tusks poking through there? I would guess that young elephant is possibly, I would guess around 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old. I think maybe a bit older. Oh, this is great. How they use their feet too sometimes. Scratch, and that's probably learnt behavior from the adults. They watch the adults use their feet to loosen certain branches and sticks out of the ground, roots that they might feed on. Here comes this beautiful female. Alright, well, we're going to sit with these elephants for a while. Let's go across to James, who's got a beautiful sky.
We do have a beautiful sky, everybody. There it is. As Craig called it, the fingers of God stretching down to the earth. And we've just come through a very large herd of wildebeest. They're just off to the right-hand side of where we're looking there. And we've had information too that the large Sala's Pride is not too far from a place called Kebololet Hill, and with any luck we'll bump into them before the darkness comes. Apparently they've been very active in the night of late, so that's going to be our plan from now. Who knows if we will succeed? This is a massive, massive area. It's not easy to navigate around if you are not intimately familiar with it, but I will do our best. We have Mimicry, Pius, and he's helping us get on with things as we drive through here. So that is Kebololet Hill over that side. And the Sala's camp, which have very kindly agreed to put us up tomorrow to refuel us. I mean that bodily. Well, they're just below that hill. And so that's kind of where we're going to start looking for the Sala's Pride of some 11 lions, if you can believe it. Marvellous. Good. On we go. We're going to go drive down here, get around the front of this hill. And Linda, you said our sky was very awesome. Thank you very much. In the meantime, let's go back to Byron, who I believe has got a very lovely herd of elephants. And they are in South Africa, and we are still linking, because there is a 10-second delay, so I will need to keep talking until now.
Just watching these elephants dust bathing here. Look at that. It's wonderful. They've all come out now. They're all in front of us. Nice view of everyone. And we're just going to sit here quietly. This is really beautiful. This one female's walking over. I'm going to keep quiet and just watch her. Listen to them feeding, everyone. Just listen for a few seconds. I can smell them there. Bit of a pungent smell. It's interesting. I don't know why she decided to come and investigate. She's chased that other one away. Skeeter, you asked if elephants are able to give birth to twins. They are indeed. There have been records of elephants giving birth to twins. I've never heard of triplets though. I don't think triplets, but twins, yes. And there have been records of twins being born in the wild. Lindsay, you say there's beautiful light on his elephant. Now there is. There really is. And so peaceful here. Luckily for us, there's no wind today. It's a very calm afternoon. and very peaceful and serene. I think just spending time close to the drainage line watching these elephant. I really love moments like this. It's just something to appreciate and enjoy and just take in. Usually if I've got guests on the vehicle, something like this, you can just sit quietly and enjoy. Listen to the sounds, birds calling, some doves. You can hear the branches breaking. Hear that? A lot of babblers, starlings, Cape turtle dove. Franklin's calling. Now, Riser, you asked how many elephant can I see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So where I'm sitting now, just in my position, I can see about 7, but there are definitely more. 8. I'm just seeing another one. There's 8. But Riser, there are quite a few more. Now, you see, it's quite thick here, Riser, so it's not easy to count all of them. Stu, you asked what behavior will allow us to know that we are too close. Well, Stu, with elephant, the wonderful thing with elephant with elephant is they give you a lot of warning signs. So if we were too close, the one thing is the elephants might raise their heads. So lifting of the heads, making themselves look a bit bigger, opening and flaring the ears, shake of the head, flapping the ears, the tail stiffens if they are feeling aggressive. The tail will stiffen. Trumpeting, obviously, if an elephant is trumpeting and kind of rushing towards you, that's not ideal. But initially, Stu, it's the raising of the head, opening the ears, flapping the ears, the stiffening of a tail, fast movements as opposed to slower movements. All of that, all those signs will give you an idea that the elephants aren't happy with you being around. The elephants are wonderful because they give you a lot of warning. They really do. And then it's best just to either, if you can see an elephant is agitated, don't stay, don't try and view them. Rather move on, leave them, and eventually they'll calm down. But it's when people try to get too close again, and they don't listen to those warnings, don't obey the signals, then that's when accidents can happen and elephants can get quite upset. I'm going to move on a little bit with this road, curve around and see if we can get another view of them. There's elephants on both sides of this drainage line. So down to my right, over there are a number of elephants on that side, and then this part of the herd on this side. So let's see how many more we can see. Spend some time with them. See, also areas like this where it's quite thick, just be cautious and constantly look around, making sure that you don't startle the elephants or upset them. Alright, well, I'm going to reposition. Let's go across to Steph and the lions that he can see from the river cam.
These lions have all of a sudden perked up and have taken an interest in something that was either approaching the river or splashing around in it. They seem to have calmed down again, with the exception of one lioness that sort of walked off into the bushes here on the right-hand side. I can't see anything. There's just a selection of birds that are catching insects that you can see in the foreground. Those are a mixture of the martins and the white-tailed swallows that are picking off the insects as we're seeing it. This lioness that is here next to this termite mound, she definitely, you can see, they're definitely not asleep anymore, let's put it to you that way. Oh, she's a beautiful lioness. She's got a lovely face. Just look at that. That is lovely to see. Now, if there was some zebra or some topi that were trying to cross the river, at the moment, these lionesses would have gone into stalk mode. They would have been flattened themselves against the ground. I think what's happening is they're hearing something. I don't know what it is. They're very inquisitive things, lion, especially as the sun starts going down. It's not uncommon if you go and make a camp out somewhere to have lions coming and investigate. Now, but Kathy, you want to know if the birds ever mob the lions. They do, actually. That bird, that spur-winged lapwing that I showed you a little bit earlier, quite often will dive bomb predators at their own peril as soon as they get close enough to any chicks or eggs. You watch lions making a hasty retreat quite often. Why don't we go to Main North, if you don't mind? I just want to show the sheer number of insects busy flying over this river at the moment. Have a look at that. Can you imagine being there at the moment and being in that cloud of insects? Of course, it's limited. It's not the entire reserve is like that. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't have spent the amount of time I have done here. But it is over the river, and it is quite astonishing. I'll give you an idea of what these animals are actually, or what these birds, these white-tailed swallows and martins are actually fishing for. It is amazing. Vila Yak, you've just said that that's so beautiful. It is. There is a certain beauty about it, hey? What you can go and do is, if you're sitting, if you feel like it, sitting with nothing to do is what I was saying, go and have a look at the midge swarms that swarm above Lake Victoria. Now, Lake Victoria is probably about 100 kilometers, 60 to 100 kilometers away from here. And go and do yourself a favor and have a look at some of the pictures taken from the air of the clouds of midges around this time of the year that congregate over Lake Victoria. It is astounding. This small little couple of 100,000 midges that you're seeing right now, which have either just hatched from the water or are just congregating here on the river, is nothing but a sample of what you get above Lake Victoria. It truly is some of the most amazing, it must be one of the most amazing natural spectacles on Earth. Another quite interesting thing that we have at the moment is happening at Cul-de-sac crossing, where we've got a crocodile which has decided to climb up a bank and is resting quite a bit, I'd say there's probably about 6 feet or so above the bank. Usually this type of behavior is associated with females who will come and start looking for nesting sites around about October for November's nesting. This crocodile there's so many other places to go and sit and suntan. Although I suppose this is on the eastern bank and it is up in the grass, and I suppose lying where the wind can't blow and the sun is warming up the grass around you, lying in the last bit of sunshine, has its merits, so to say. All right, let's go back to these lions who looking like this will be the last time that we get to see them, because 2 of them have already walked off into the distance. I don't know if we're going to be able to see these lions much more. So why don't we go back to Main South, if you don't mind, Alice. Let's go and have a look and see if we can see what these... Let's go and have a look and see if these... Now that is Main South. Let's just take a look around and see if there's not anything on this bank. When you first came to me this afternoon, there was 3 anxious-looking topi that wanted to cross over here. And I wonder if these lions are not witnessing some other type of massing on the other bank. The moment there you can see the one lioness. There's no other lionesses here. They've disappeared just behind that bush on the right-hand side, leaving this one lone lioness. Although, to be honest with you, I don't think that this the other two lionesses have walked off too far. They won't leave a lioness. She won't be left behind, to be honest with you. I find that's quite nice. Ew, she's in good condition. Just look at, it's rare to see a lioness with, enough skin and fat to spare to give them rolls. But I suppose the pickings have been good the last couple of months. I must be honest with you, she is a good-looking lioness. The one that was sitting sort of on her haunches just now was a much better-looking lioness for me, had a much prettier face. But something that is pretty is the sunlight on the elephant that Byron have got, and you're definitely missing out, so have a nice one.
Now look at this. This is really beautiful light. Sebastian has really found an artistic flair all of a sudden. There's always artistic inspiration, I suppose, for this. Look at that beautiful backlight, the dust. You can see the hairs on the elephant. Flies buzzing around, little flies that are disturbed while they're busy feeding. You can hear them communicating with one another too. That very low vocalization sounds like a grumble. It's the best way to describe it. It is a vocalization though. Branches breaking around us. Isn't this beautiful? Just magnificent. An elephant silhouette.
Thank you.
Sebastian says thank you very much everyone for all the compliments on the camera work. Sebastian has been doing this for quite some time now. Hey Sebastian, how long have you been a cameraman for?
2 months.
Sebastian said 2 months. Now that's not true.
8 years.
8 years. 8 years, that's a long time, eh? Almost as long as 9 years.
9 sounds better.
9 sounds better. Oh, Laura Moore, sometimes that flicking of the tail backwards and forwards and swaying their tails, it is to chase flies away a little bit. That's why they've got a little bit of hair on the tips of their tails too. It helps just keep flies away. It is mainly for the flies. Look at that, the dust in the sky. You can see it drifting off to the side. The elephants, almost like I've said it the other day, these visions moving through the trees. It's wonderful. It really is great. They disappear very easily in this grey and brown vegetation at the moment. And this has been a real treat for this afternoon. I think we'll maybe leave these ellies and we'll carry on and see what else we can find. Who knows? Maybe we bump into a predator or something. It's beautiful golden light now. But they're moving further into that thicket, those ellies. So let's see and continue. We still need to find 2 more birds to get to 100. I can't believe, I'm actually very surprised that we got to 98. I think it's a wonderful achievement. So we'll see two more bird species. A black-headed oriole is needed. I can't believe we haven't got one on camera yet. They were taunting us this morning, calling and flying past, and then we just couldn't find them. Oh, there's just another vehicle with guests. And just say hello quickly. Hello everyone. Andrew, how are you? There's some elephant down there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, enjoy it.
Check that loose there.
Nothing that's out.
Check, maybe you could luck.
Thanks very much. Enjoy everyone. Bye bye. Andrew, one of the guides in the area, he's got guests. They're all out on their afternoon safari. Kathy, you asked if I do birding even when I'm on vacation. I do. I'm one of those people. It depends on the area, but I enjoy taking my binoculars with me on holiday, depending where I'm going, obviously. And I'll like the Cape. In Cape Town's beautiful scenery, wonderful birding down there. I was recently in Clarence in the mountains down in the Free State. It's a province in South Africa. Beautiful mountain range, and did some birding down there. It was a lot of fun. Different. Every area is different. You see different birds, find different birds. So it is nice to. It's just something to do anyway. It depends, like I say, it depends on the type of holiday, who I'm with, and where we're going. I'm hoping to get something on the edge of this drainage line. I keep just scanning these trees. If we can find another bird that's flying around there. And this is the first bird challenge that I've done on Safari Live, and just something different. I know all the other guides bird and that too, and they find interesting birds, they point it out. But this has just been quite fun. Starting from the common birds that we see fairly regularly, to birds that we don't see regularly. Alright, well, let's go across to Steph again on the river cams, and now he's trying to find another bird known as a bee-eater.
I've been sucked into Byron's black hole of birding, and I'm having quite a lot of fun, actually. I'd hate to admit it to him, though, but I am having quite a lot of fun. These midges, which are erupting from this river, are creating a bird frenzy at the moment, and we have a little bee-eater that was sitting here on these branches, busy hawking these midges. Ah, there we go, found him again. Okay, there. Oh, where did you go? So that green bush in the center of your picture now had a little bee-eater in it that was busy. It might be on the right-hand side of it. There we go, right-hand side of your screen. There, in the center of the screen, there's a little bee-eater. I know the quality is horrendous at the moment. Whoops, let's see if he comes back. There we go. So there you go, little bee-eater. And that behavior that you're seeing of catching one of these midges and then returning to the same perch, which it's only managed to do once now and not 2 or 3 times, is called hawking. And what they're catching is an insect that erupts in such multitudes as to cause clouds. And although we can't see it on this particular shot, what we can go and do is go back to main north camera and go and have a look at them. They're slowly dispersing. Oh, hang on, wait. Before we do that, let's go to, if you don't mind, Alice main south before our lines disappear. I've just gotten mobile now, and you can see these midges in the foreground there. And that is about that for Paradise Pride. That's what happens every now and again. I'm sorry about that, everybody, but that is about that. Have a look at the clouds of insects. This is astounding. Wow. So these midges obviously come out. I mean, they do come out at specific times of year. I'm not a fisherman. Brent would be able to tell you a little bit more about exactly the dynamics of these midges. But they come out at specific times of year when conditions are great. And then they just last enough time to mate with one another, lay some eggs, and then they die. They've literally got an adult lifespan of a couple of hours, not even. With, I think, males erupting first and then females. And in multitudes that defy the imagination. I mean, they are uncountable here. We can just see them because it's against the dark background, but that is amazing. Imagine trying to camp out in that. Ugh. That is incredible, eh? Why don't we go and see Main North, where we have a bit of a broader outlook on it. Just have a look at all of those. Wow. That is insane. I don't know much more about midges than I've just told you right now. I do know that fish feed on them to a point where trying to fish with a lure in this type of environment is near impossible because the fish are just absolutely struck dumb by the amount of food around you. I mean, just have a look at that. I wonder how high they go. I've just now going to go and have a look at some images that I found on Google Images about the midges above Lake Victoria, and they look like tornadoes. They look like dust devils out on the horizon. Massive clouds that you can see from very high up, and they stretch for hundreds of feet, if not thousands of feet up into the atmosphere. Probably become food for an entire food network or food web. Natural, you say beautiful, but thank goodness for those birds. I must agree with you on that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine trying to sit out there enjoying your gin and tonic in the sunset with these things flying around your head? Jay, you say it looks quite biblical. That's an interesting way of putting it. I must say I agree with you there. It does look like it's a plague proportions there, hey? Let's see if I can switch the focus off and try and fiddle with the focus knob and see if I can get you something a little bit better. Kathy, you wanted to know if midges are the same as gnats. Wow, I don't actually know the answer to that question, Kathy. I mean, they do erupt from aquatic larvae, which is the same as a gnat. As far as I understand, and you can please correct me, a gnat is blood-sucking as an adult, whereas these midges are not. They, as far as I know, they don't even have feeding mouth parts. They literally just erupt out of the water, and then they mate with one another in this frenzy that you're seeing here now, and then lay eggs again back in the water and die in their multitudes. Just look at that. Isn't it just the most amazing thing? Cage, do you want to know if they fly into one another? I'm actually just having a look there and seeing what I can see now. The ones in the foreground, the ones that I've managed to get into, you know, I suppose not what genre would call focus, but at least that we can see some individuals look like they're meeting up with one another, and it's just because the depth of field is so massive that it looks like chaos, but it does actually look like They're floating around in a circle, probably reacting to pheromones of some sort in the air. Males can obviously distinguish themselves from females, and females have a way of deciding what male is more suitable than another, or must have a way of deciding what male is more suitable than another. And then mating takes place, or fertilization at least anyway. And I don't know if the fertilization would happen of the eggs inside the female's body, or if they will descend to the water, the female then spreading her eggs on the water and the male laying a covering of sperm over that. I don't know enough about midge breeding biology. I'll have to do a little bit of research, man. It just looks amazing, doesn't it? Vilalak, you said a mirror of the oceans, like squirrels or fish. Like squirrels. Oh, schools of fish, excuse me. Sorry, Alice. And please excuse me for getting that so wrong. It's my deaf ear. Yes, like schools of fish. It does look like schools of fish, hey? It just looks like that general chaos that you get in a sardine school, or I don't know, what else would you see this thing? It's crazy. And a few of you out there are probably wondering, I know you're wondering, was it the midges that chased away the lions? I don't think so, to be quite honest. What I did see with those lions was the fact that that they got up and they moved off. And I think that these midges are probably, for now, confined to the river itself, and will more than likely, as the evening breezes come into play, start to disperse. But I don't think so. I think that this type of midge is restricted to the airspace above some water, mainly because they go and lay their eggs back in the water again. But I also think that that we would have seen the lions reacting if this amount of insects was plaguing them. I think we definitely would have seen them shaking their heads, putting their paws over their ears, as you do sometimes when they're being attacked by swarms of flies or swarms of bees. But isn't that just a spectacular sight? I can't stop looking at it. You see them all, it almost looks like they're all swirling in a roughly the same direction. I mean, I don't know if it's just me wanting to see it, but it all looks like they're coming from the right to the left. In other words, swirling anti-clockwise, and being just a few degrees. Yeah, tornado of midges. Sinak, you said exactly what was on my mind. Now, funnily enough, if you go and research Midge, Lake Victoria, and you look at the images that come up there, you will see tornadoes of midges. That is something very, very nice. I'm glad to have shared this with everybody, to be honest with you. One of nature's spectacles. All right, why don't we go and join Byron for one of, well, he's heading off into the sunset with that golden light there. See you just now.
Now, we are trying to get down to Chitwa Dam as quickly as possible, because the light at the moment is so beautiful. I don't want to stop now because I'm scared we lose this light. That sun is going to drop very quickly behind the Drakensberg mountain range. So trying to get down to Chitwa, we're probably about 5 minutes away. And see if we can do a bit of birding. Maybe something comes down to drink in the afternoon. I really enjoyed that elephant sighting. I hope all of you did too. Take care. You asked what the word veld means. Now, veld, it's an Afrikaans word, an Afrikaans term. Now, the veld, the bush veld, has been known for many, many years. The bush veld is this area that we are in now. So felt, I suppose the direct translation for felt is field. And that's what the direct translation is. But in this particular instance, it doesn't mean a field. The veld is the open grasslands, the bush vegetation that we see around here. That is basically the definition of the veld. So we're going to the bush veld, we're going to it's funny, it's almost like it isn't a direct translation for it. The term is just a term that has been used for the vegetation in the area that we are in. It has always been known as the bushveld, but it is a South African term, very much a South African term. But if you had to take the word veld, spelled V-E-L-D, veld, the direct translation would be field, but not in this instance. As I said, it's the vegetation, it's the landscape. Alright, I'm almost at the dam, and we'll see what there. Let's see Steph, who's got some more crocodiles.
Nice to see Byron just making the most of that sunset and that beautiful light there. This is, I don't actually know what this is, to be quite honest with you. It probably is a piece of wildebeest that has just been lying, rotting for a massive amount of time. And it is being fed upon by, it's being fed upon by a group of crocodiles. Oh, can you imagine what that must smell like? Tony, do I think I think that crocs are the laziest predators? No, I don't actually, Tony. You watch them putting in quite a lot of effort from time to time with... okay, now we've got some mating going on, I think. Let's just carefully watch the back of the large crocodile on the right. Watch carefully for the sound that they produce when they're trying to seduce a lady. Oh, no, we've got some frozen camera going on. Obviously, as the night comes along, we get these intermittent signals. And of course, because I want to show you mating behavior, we're not seeing it at the moment. Let's see if he does it. So just to finish off my comment there, Tony, no, I don't think that they're the laziest laziest hunters at all. I think lazier would probably be a puff adder, maybe. Let's see what this crocodile does. Now, watch his back. Quite often you'll see it now. Tail, there. Did you see that? Now that rippling of the water was a sound wave. There, he did it again. And now they'll snap their jaws a little bit. That's an ultra low frequency sound that only the biggest crocodiles can make. Hey guys, we're lucky to see this. There's a mating of crocodiles going on over here. Very, very awesome. And that is about that, I suppose. That's what it looks like. I'm very glad that I got to show you that ultra low frequency sound that causes that almost speaker-like effect of the water above their back. I hope some of you are quickie enough to see it on, or to get some snaps. Safari Wildman, you said it looks like dancing water, and that is exactly what it is. It is dancing water. But you know, by definition, when you put sound waves through water and you watch what it does. There's another one. While there's been some mating behavior going on, food has been snatched up by others. Wow, some fighting going on there as well. No, camera, don't go and do that. No. All right, that's what happens when a camera just goes on its own. Now, we'll probably have to come back to that camera if you don't mind. Alice, let's go to cul-de-sac crossing while we wait for Dusty to return back to normal again. These cameras, though, they definitely do have a mind of their own. What we've got here is the hippo pod at Dusty Crossing. At cul-de-sac crossing, just getting awake for the day. And there's youngsters in this one, like sort of teenagers, which are quite often quite boisterous. and playful with one another. I'm hoping that some of them will do their thing. It seems like I've got control of Dusty again, so we can go back to the crocodile feeding whenever you're ready, Alice. Please excuse us, everybody. This is the Gremlins with the new system like we have at the moment, and it is a bit choppy and changey, I know, but we are trying to work on getting things properly aligned. Obviously, the changeover from night to day has an effect. Moisture in the atmosphere has an effect. Midges by their millions will be having an effect. The time of day, funnily enough, has an effect in the temperature. Oh, just have a look at that. That carcass is so rotten. It's lost all its hair and the skin has gone bone white of that wildebeest. Ugh. Annette, do you want to know what area in Africa we find the most crocodiles? That's a good question. I don't actually know. I'm wanting to say this area. You know, let me put it out there that I think that this area, this Mara River and the Mara Triangle or Masai Mara, has the most crocodiles, let's call it per kilometer of river frontage than anywhere else in Africa. I know that the place that has the most hippo in the world per square or per running kilometer of the river is the South Luangwa in Zambia. But crocodiles, I would say this one, there is a massive amount of crocodiles here. Let's look at this big green-headed giant crocodile just sort of effortlessly put that entire wildebeest's leg in his mouth. Excuse the jumpy picture, everybody. That is just this time of the evening, unfortunately, has an effect on our cameras. And every now and again we get these good shots like you're having a look at there. I think this big crocodile put the leg in its mouth and is now reversing away from it. Byron has got a new bird for you, so off you go, because I think this is number 99. It must be close to 100 at least anyway.
Quickly. No. Too soon to panic. Look, everyone. A pied kingfisher, number 99 on our list. And it just caught a fish. Watch how it's knocking it. So it kills the fish that way. And then what often happens is the fish might stiffen and makes it a bit difficult for the kingfisher to eat it. And knocks it a few times and it should swallow it whole. But look how it knocks the fish against the tree. Now we're down at Chitwa Dam. So that is a wonderful surprise. A pied kingfisher. 99. That is wonderful. But what a great sighting for number 99. See the pied kingfisher feeding. Oh, that's fascinating. Look how it knocks that fish around. I'm not sure what that fish is. I'm assuming it's a little tilapia, and down it goes. Hey, isn't that amazing? What a nice surprise. Oh, that was great. We saw the giant kingfisher this morning, and then the pied kingfisher this afternoon. That is really exciting. That is... I'm so happy. Now we've had the brown-hooded kingfisher, the pied kingfisher, and the giant kingfisher. So for this time of year, that's really great. I'm looking around, scanning to see if there's anything else. There we go. Can you believe it? One more away. One more from 100. Will we get it this evening or now? We will, because there's another bird we don't have. At the water's edge. Just hold on, Megs. On the water's...
Where? Which edge?
Sorry, just over there. A little bit to the left. Keep going left. Keep going left. Black crake. See those bright red legs, yellow beak? 100. Yay! 100. 100, Seb. 100. You got to dance with me, buddy. 100. 100.
100. High five.
Well done, buddy. Well done. Dear, thank goodness there are no guests around. They think
Accepted.
challenge accepted and completed. There we go. Oh, well, that was fun. Seb, thanks very much for your help, and Senzo.
I learned a lot about birds.
Yeah, Senzo also helped in the beginning with the camera work, so it's good. And I hope all of you got some extra birds on your list, but we've got 100. So that's awesome. Hey, who thought we'd get there? That is awesome. I'm very, very happy. 100 birds in a week. It's been seven days, I think, a week. So that's great. Awesome stuff. I think, what is the time? I think we might start heading back towards Djuma, I think. From here, what I'm going to do is just turn around on the damn wall, rather, because maybe we get a nice view of those hippo. Maybe there's some activity. Can I turn here? I should be able to make it around here. So let me know how close I am to the edge there, Sam.
Good.
I think... Alright, well, I'm going to turn around. Let's go across to Steph, who says he better stop me from dancing. It's embarrassing. I wonder if Steph can dance. Oh, maybe a challenge. Let's go see him.
And obviously these cameras have a massive ability to be able to just pick up the ambient light around. There's not a lot of moon. I don't think it's been overcast for so long at night time. I don't actually know what phase the moon is in at the moment, to be quite honest with you. But these elephants are ambling along. That white piece of detritus you see there is actually the skull of a hippo. I think a hippo probably died. You can just see its bottom jaw with some teeth there. There's the hippo tusks. That's the skull of a hippo there that elephant is just getting past. Quite interesting, eh? Massive hippo, at least, anyway. Can we go to cul-de-sac crossing, where we've got those boisterous hippo teenagers busy playing with one another? Oh, there we go. They're about to run away at the moment. There we go. These guys are having a proper game with one another. How awesome was that? I tell you, they can move in the water. It's incredible. What makes you think about these guys? You know, what the full-grown hippo is capable of. Every now and again you see them run into the water as if slicing, a hot knife through butter. You don't realize how fast they are and how agile they are for such robust, round things. Jimlin, you don't know if hippos give birth underwater or on land. They give birth on land, and the young hippo will stay on land for a couple of hours to a couple of days, depending on the mom, before being taken back into the water. But it's not long after birth that you actually see these young hippo in the water. And at birth, they can already hold their breath for like 30, 40 seconds. Which is actually a massive feat, considering that if you try to hold your breath for 30 seconds right now, unless you were trained for that sort of thing, it's actually quite difficult to do. Although Jean-Andre does tell me that it's not actually that difficult to do, and that anyone can hold their breath for 30 or 40 seconds if you can just overcome your body's natural sort of want to breathe. Well, these two are still busy playing with one another, just mouthing each other, and that's just the games that youngsters play to hone the skills that they'll need for the sort of conflicts to come. Mothers protecting their babies from marauding adult bulls, and adult bulls to protect their harem and their pools from other bulls. And so these games, although funny to watch, are very similar to how lion practice their hunting and their catching skills with one another. These guys are practicing their fighting skills just by play wrestling at this present moment in time. and the precursor for serious things to come as they get a little bit older. I don't know how old these hippo are. It's so difficult to judge, at the sort of top-down angle that we've got here. I've almost entirely lost the light now to these cameras. Aidan, who's only 6 years old, has asked a very important question. Aidan, you said, at what age do hippos learn how to swim? Aidan, the answer is hippos never learn how to swim. Can you believe it? That hippo cannot actually swim. They are incapable of swimming. What they can do is they are relatively buoyant. Not very buoyant, relatively buoyant. But they actually porpoise. They jump up and down, and they can go down to the bottom of the pool, and they can, for short distances, carry themselves across really deep water, but they cannot actually swim. So the answer to your question, Aidan, is they don't really know. They don't really ever learn how to swim, even at an old age. All right, it's getting a bit dark now for these cameras, and so what we're going to do is be sending over to some other hippos in the sunset with Byron.
Copy. Now, after all that excitement, we've just come to enjoy some of the hippo and see if they're active this time of the evening. Sometimes, listen, they're making some sounds. Always nice hearing the grunts of the hippo in the evening, early evening. There's some bats flying around us too. I can't see what species of bat, and it'll probably be very difficult to get them on camera, but I can hear their chattering, that echolocation that the bats use. And there are actually quite a few little insects around, not mosquitoes, but midges, very similar. Oh, look at that. Sorry, Seb.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. There was a big yawn. Hold on. Maybe we'll see another one. As I said, this time of the afternoon, or late afternoon, early evening, you sometimes get these hippo being quite active. Oh, look, there looks like a young one just at the head of that hippo. A lot of scratches. And look at that, how these hippo scratches on their bodies from fighting. As I was saying, there are a lot of midges around at the moment. There are little insects flying around that these bats are catching. There's so many bats. Wow, I haven't seen this many bats flying around for quite some time. I'm not sure what species of bat they are. There are many. There are a few different bats around, a few different species. I think these might be the epauletted bats. I think epauletted bats. I'm not sure, but I don't know. You'd have to actually catch one of the bats to identify them. Watch. Oh, look at that. Wendy, you saying you can hear and feel those hippo grunts right through your computer. Yeah, they're loud. Very, very loud. Watch, another yawn. See, this is what I wanted, this activity from these hippo. I start getting a bit playful this time of the evening. Egyptian geese are still calling on the banks of Chitwa Dam. And the fish eagle. Oh, did you hear that, everyone? That was wonderful. Harry, you asked if the hippos are nocturnal. Well, Harry, to an extent they are, because hippos leave the water during the evening to go off and feed. They'll look for grass and feed at night, and then return back to the water a few hours later. So a little bit of both. I mean, they are active during the day, but they stay in the water, but at night is when they go off to feed. So I wouldn't necessarily say they... Well, I suppose no, to an extent, Harry, they are. They're nocturnal, or they're active at night. But we see them during the day too, I think. Being nocturnal is usually when we see the animals mostly active at night. You can still see the hippos active during the day and they call, but in terms of them going and looking for food, it's done mainly at night. I think we're going to move away from the dam and maybe continue and see what else we can find now that the light is being lost as the sun sets. Carsten from Denmark, you were asking how large can hippopods get? Well, Carsten, I'm trying to think. I think I've seen pods of about 15 to 20 hippo in this area, in the Sabi sands. But some pods can get much larger up in, I think especially East Africa when the water starts drying out. Sorry, there's a big bird flying. Oh, that's a goose. Carsten, I think up in East Africa, in the rivers there, you probably get much bigger pods of hippo. Especially when the rivers start drying up, the pods have to congregate into areas. So you'll see huge amounts of hippo together in the dry season. I'm not exactly sure of the numbers though, or what the numbers can reach. But, sorry, I just heard something behind me. I just want to have a look at something quickly. I heard what sounded like guinea fowl alarm calling. No, they're just walking across the dam wall behind us, and then went alarm calls. Maybe they were just calling at each other, but I can see them walking. Alarm calls from guinea fowl, you often see them flying up into trees and alarm calling from up there. Oh, it's getting a bit chilly now at the dam. Now, a lot of you are hoping to see bats. So I think maybe, Seb, you know what I would maybe suggest is just framing this little section of sky here, and every little, if you can see any black markings flying through the air, all those flying around, you don't even have to zoom in, Seb. I think it'll be impossible to focus on one of them. But all those black little... Yeah, those are all the bats flying around. There are some little insects in front of the lens, the little ones that are moving very quickly. But the ones that you can see flying around in the back are the bats. So there we go. Those are the bats. That's the best we can probably do for the bats. Now I'm going to continue. Let's... what was that little guy? Spotted thickney. There we go. There's a bat. Well done. Wow. That's a bat, everyone. That's another bat. There goes another bat. That's a bit tricky. All right, so I think we'll move on from the dam. and we'll head back towards Djuma and get the spotlight out soon. See what we can find with the spotlight. Now there's a short section of road here where we sometimes lose signal. Bear with us, it'll be back within a few seconds if you do lose us. I'm going to try to drive out here quite quickly, so maybe we won't even lose signal. Let's see. Insect just flew into my eye. That's not ideal. Alright. Megan says we still got signal. Just quickly, sometimes just this little section. Let's see, hopefully we don't lose signal with you. Well, it looks like we're lucky. Don't think you've lost us. That's good. That was lucky. So the gremlins have been fought off at Djuma for the meantime. Technical issues. So that's going to sort that. And that's the river cams. It's too dotty. Again, unfortunately, sorry. We'll see what we can find you. I might just stop for a second over here because it's getting chilly. I'd like to put my jacket on. And while I do that, Sebastian, is your jacket on?
Yep.
Look at that beautiful silhouette and amazing light off to my left. I'm just going to put my jacket on quickly. But look at that sky. That is really, really magnificent. Stunning. Another, it's been a tough Monday for us here. As you can see, I mean, we've really, really struggled through this Monday, but we made it. That's very beautiful. I can hear a pearl-spotted owl. It's calling in the distance. Naturable, you'd like me to find an owl this evening? An owl this evening, I beg your pardon. Before James shouts at me for getting that incorrect. I will try my best. David, you asked if owls hunt bats. There are some species of owls, yes, that do hunt bats. They do. I think some people stop for drinks over there, for their sundowners. So David, yeah, there are some species of owls that hunt bats. I'm just trying to think now. I think some of those little owls, like the pearl-spotted and the barred owlets, I think some of them hunt bats, the smaller species of bats. And I think the birds like the spotted eagle owl and the giant eagle owl, they possibly could hunt larger bat species. Yeah, kitty bang bang, you asked where do the bats roost during the day. So some of them will roost in dead trees from time to time. A lot of the bats in this area also find roosting sites within the lodges, in the roofs of certain lodges, in certain areas, but it's also probably in thick thick areas, thick trees where they're able to hide during the day. They may also roost there. Wouldn't it be nice to find a leopard now on the way back to camp, back towards camp? It would be just a cherry on the cake for us. Now, I think we've been fooled. We have indeed. I heard a whistle, but it sounded like a pearl-spotted owl, but it's not. It's a little fork-tailed drongo, and it's sitting... Where is he? He's sitting somewhere. Yeah, there he is. There he is. I'm not going to shine the lights on him for too long, but he was whistling like a pearl-spotted owl. They mimic the owls. There it is. I'm going to take the light off of him, but he mimics the owl, the pearl-spotted owl. But I'm too clever for him. I knew it was the drongo. He gives a little that screeching sound you could possibly hear at the end. Sometimes he gives it at the end, and the whistle isn't quite like the pearl-spotted owlet. Sounds a little different. But a lot of people get caught out. I've been caught out before. Oh, there's an owl, and you have a look around, and it's the drongo mimicking the owl. Chitty Chatty Meg, you asked for the owl with eyeshadow. Meg, I've tried to find that owl. I can't find him anywhere. Don't know where he is. Maybe hiding somewhere. See if we can find anything down here. Chitty Chatty Meg, I'm not sure what happened to that owl. I think all that it's done is it's moved. I'm sure it's still in that drainage line, but maybe in just some other trees. Maybe it was disturbed a bit too much. There were monkeys there the other day we went past yesterday, I think. Yesterday or this morning, Seb, I can't remember. These days start blurring into one. The monkeys, we saw the monkeys. Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Anyway, the monkeys will obviously push the owl away. But let's see, maybe we spot that owl. Ekula, you were confused by that comment by Chitty Chatty Meg about the pink eyeshadow. So the giant eagle owl, the eyelids of that owl are bright pink, or very pink. I wouldn't say bright pink, but they are very pink. So it looks like it's put eyeshadow on the eyelids, and that's what Chitty Chatty Meg is referring to. Let's just scan ya quickly. Any owl? I don't see an owl. Now I'm hoping that tomorrow morning we wake up and we've got lions calling close to camp. We find them very soon and we follow them around and possibly find that lioness with the young cubs, and she takes us to the den so we can see those little cubs again. That's what I am hoping for tomorrow morning. Shravan, you asked what is the rarest thing I've found at night? Well, I mean, a pangolin is incredibly rare. I've seen pangolin at night. I'm trying to think in this area. In this area, serval is not seen very often around here, but we do get them. Seen serval at night. The civet is a lovely nocturnal animal to see. The honey badgers, obviously, but they're not that rare. It's just they're very shy. And the rarest thing would be the pangolin, I would say. And once on a safari, I managed to find something called a striped polecat. Let me show you what that is. Hold on a second. I'll get my mammal book out and show you what a striped polecat is. It's a cool name though, isn't it? Striped polecat. Now it looks like a skunk, to be honest, but it's not a skunk. Hang on a second. Sorry, I'll find it shortly. Bear with me for 2 seconds. There is a striped polecat. Oh dear. Hold on everyone, I can't find it. It's so rare, it's jumped out of the book. There we go. As I said, it looks like a skunk. Look at that interesting creature. A striped polecat. It is not a skunk, but it looks very similar. A striped polecat. Strictly nocturnal. This is one of those animals that are strictly nocturnal. They do occur all over actually most parts of southern Africa, but you very seldom see them. I've only seen two. One was a brief glimpse and the other one was a bit of a better view. It does have a foul smelling scent that it will spray when it feels threatened, much like a skunk. So it does secrete a scent that is very foul smelling as a defense mechanism. But that's probably one of the rarest things I've seen. Striped polecat. Seb, have you ever seen one?
No.
Yeah, I don't know many people that have seen a striped polecat. They're very rare and very secretive. Kathy, I'm not sure. I should hope so. And Kathy was asking, do birds carry around books? You know what? It doesn't matter how long you have been guiding for. My golden rule is you always have a mammal book and a bird book with you, depending on the area that you're guiding. Obviously, East Africa, you need different mammal and bird books, but you should always have at least those two books with them. I've also got the tracking book with me that I carry with me. Obviously, I can't carry an entire library with me, but I've got many books at home of everything from trees to grasses to stars, scorpions, frogs, snakes, birds. I think I've got 5 or 6 bird books, everyone, because they're all different. I've also got mammal books. I've got what else? There's the tree. Also 2 or 3 different tree books. So you start collecting the books, obviously the more time that you guide for, spend out in the bush. But I do think it's very important for a guide to have books with him. And if he doesn't, let me know, and I will sort that guide out. I think it's also with the birding now, the app that I use it for Safari Live because it's nice to hear the calls, and that will allow you to listen to the calls and play the calls for you. The pictures are really nice, but I always carry a bird book with me, and when I've got guests, it's nice to still take a book out and look through the book and identify the bird. I find the app, especially if you're a beginner, the app is very difficult unless you know what you're looking for. Rather go for a book. A book is easier, it's more user friendly, and a book won't let you down, so I still carry a book with me. Megan says I sound like her dad. Oh dear, maybe it's an age thing, Megan, generation thing. Well, I'm just trying to think now, Monday, so Tuesday, tomorrow, so one more whole day, unfortunately, and then Wednesday morning I'll do the drive, and then I'm off for a while. I've got some business to attend to, and then I've got guests I'm taking on safari, and I will be back again, don't worry. I'll be back around, I think it's around the 10th of October only, so I'll be away for about a month. But Tristan and Ellie will be back here, I believe, and then I think James is coming back here in September, I think. I'm not sure. I don't want to make empty promises, so I won't. Rashni, I would enjoy nothing more than to find a honey badger, but you know what, it's so difficult. And I mean, the thing is, I think they come out a little bit later, Rashni, to be honest. I think they're more active a little bit later in the evening. Very secretive, shy animals too. But you never know. I mean, we could drive around tomorrow morning and bump into a honey badger, Rashni. So, if we find one, I'd be very, very happy. You asked for a scrub hair. You asked, please can I find your scrub hair? Exquisite Bliss, I'm going to try my best for you now. I'm going to look for a scrub hair. That's something I might be able to deliver on. Let's see. Best I look on the ground and not in the trees. I'm not going to find one in the tree, that's for sure. I'm scanning everywhere though, just in case we spot something. So the multitasking, the driving, talking, spotlighting, looking at the camera. I joked about it in the beginning when I started here. And Kirby, you asked if it's easier to find these animals on foot. Not necessarily, Kirby, because the animals react very differently to us on foot. When we're on foot, we appear as if we are a predator. We're standing upright, we look very different, and animals are more afraid of us than they are of the vehicles. So they tend to move away a lot quicker. You might see tracks and you'll pick up on smaller things on foot, definitely. And, sorry, I've got another bug in my eye. I definitely think being on foot is wonderful and it's nice, but it's very difficult to sometimes find some of these animals. Oh no, this bug in my eyes. Yeah, no, it's affected my vision now. Oh no. Sorry everyone. That's a bit sore. It's okay. Let's soldier on until after drive. Then I can, I don't know. See if I can find something though with one eye. Feel like a pirate. One eye and a spotlight. Come on, I need to find a scrub here for Exquisite Bliss. Yeah, you know what everyone, speaking about the walk, we are going to, hang on, I think I've spotted one. There, I've spotted two scrub hairs, Exquisite Bliss. Sorry, my eye is so sore now. But here they are. Oh, please stay there. Stay, don't run. There they go. Oh, there we go. Two of them. Exquisite Bliss, 2 scrub hairs. They are beautiful, aren't they? Wonderful nocturnal creatures. I can hear Scops Owl calling too. Oh, the bugs. That's one thing I don't really enjoy about summer, is the amount of bugs around on a night drive. You've basically got to drive with your eyes closed. Are they just disappearing behind the... Sorry, Seb. We'll go now. Amounts of times I get insects in my eye. Or my eyes. Because of the insects flying around. It's... So especially when we're holding the spotlight, because they're attracted to the light. But I've had it so many times, it's not fun. Oh, Cindy, hold on a second, I can hear an owl above us. Oh no, I don't know if this angle, Seb. There's a Scops Owl. Cindy in Tennessee, you asked about... have you got him? Hold on a second, let me just go back a bit. I just want to see if we can find it. Little Scops Owl calling somewhere. Hold on a second. I think that's it over there, isn't it? There it is. A Scops Owl. Then it's calling. Wonderful. Wonderful. I actually thought I saw it, but I can just see a blur at the moment, to be honest. Look at that, beautiful Scops Owl. Cindy from Tennessee, sorry, you were asking about the bush babies. We actually saw 2 nights ago. Seb and I had a wonderful bush baby sighting. They are around. Listen to it calling. I'm going to keep quiet for a second. Beautiful call. That's the African Scops Owl, one of my favorite little birds. And very, very well camouflaged. Isn't that great? So Cindy, as I was saying, we did see bush babies the other night. We'll see, maybe, I'm sure we'll try to find some more. But they are still around. This owl is beautiful. This is a really, really lovely little owl. The Scops Owl. we have the scops owl on our list? I wonder. We might do, I'm not sure. Ah, we do. You know, we could always just add to the list 101, 102. You never know. This is so great, seeing that little scops owl. They're quite territorial, so they sit and call like this for quite some time. Well, thank you to the team in the Mara. Unfortunately, they had some tech issues this afternoon. I'm sure it will all be sorted out by tomorrow. And hopefully the weather isn't too bad. We know the weather plays a big factor there. The rain. Thank you very much to the French Connection, Sebastian, for all the camera work also with the birds and that, and for this afternoon. So thanks, Seb. And Megan in final control. Thank you, Megan. And of course, all of you for all the fun and the comments and the questions. It really means a lot to us, and we enjoy it. And I hope you obviously enjoyed the show. And we'll see you all tomorrow morning on Safari Live. So we'll be out again, same time. So enjoy. Good night. Goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.